This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction to every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. It's just rinse and repeat. Another frustrating loss for the Rays. There is a lot of good to take out of this game. Also, just as much bad, obviously, with the loss. But, we're going to just hop right into it. We're going to talk about mistakes cost the Rays again. We're going to talk about the missed opportunities, how Joe Boyle cannot control bats. Do show some life. A huge 2 games coming up in the look ahead. But first, we got to talk about those missed opportunities.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Those missed opportunities, because when the Rays kind of got things going, and they got them going in a big way, they got up 2-0 in the first inning, and Jonny DeLuca with a huge moment there. You even heard BA in the broadcast say, you even heard BA say that the Rays absolutely need to cash in here because of how difficult it's going to get to Fried. And again, the Yankees, another mistake. I don't know how Yankees fans can kind of take Volpe being their shortstop, man. He commits so many errors, and it should make you guys who are Taylor Wallace haters kind of be thankful for Taylor Wallace. But they take advantage of that mistake. The Rays get 2 from DeLuca, who's been really good since he's been back, especially in the field as well. They get the Aranda home run, and then we get to the third inning. And what is it with Joe Boyle, which was, I tweeted about it, was the issue all game today. It was the walks, walk after walk after walk after walk. And I think he ended up only having 3 walks. He ended up having only 3 walks, but it all felt like they came at the wrong time. And both the runners on when the Bellinger home run was hit was via the walk. And, those are just mistakes that the Rays can't make. And you just kind of knew when Boyle couldn't locate his fastball. And I thought he got away from it too much. You throw 100, you got to get in the zone. And I feel like he got away from it a little bit too much. His slider is filthy good, and he still had 6 strikeouts, which shows how good his stuff was. And a bad quote unquote bad outing from Joe Boyle, still getting 6 strikeouts. But when he cannot locate his fastball, it's really tough to have his primary pitch be the slider. And he hung one to Bellinger, and all of a sudden it's a tie game. And, it goes back to the missed opportunities that the Rays have. The Rays made up a game on almost every team ahead of them in the wild card outside of Seattle. And this was a game the Rays, in my opinion, should have won. This was an absolute winnable game. And the Rays are not good enough, and I've said a million times, games like this, to lose games where Jose Caballero on a routine play drops the ball, doesn't get his body in front of it. Everyone was taught as little leaguers to, you part of getting over it, you get your body in front of it too. So if you do mess up, it does go by you, it hits your body. Jose Cabby kind of stabs at it with his glove, goes in to right, and obviously, Forbes ripping the throw to Fortes, ripping the throw to third base on the double steal into the outfield. But again, that's on our pitchers not being able to hold runners. The fact that Montgomery and Boyle can't hold a runner is, kind of 1A outside of location. The second biggest thing that they need to work on. And it is just a flurry of things that lead to this. So, and the Yankees took advantage of every single one of them, like good teams do. And the Rays took advantage of the Yankees' mistakes. The one difference is the Yankees were able to create a little bit more without the mistakes, and their mistakes were kind of compiled into a big 3-run home run from Bellinger. Ideally that's a solo home run because those walks don't get on there. And then this just scoring a run when throwing a ball in the outfield is never a recipe for success. And then the Rays still get the opportunity. That's where we get to our turning point of this game.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
First and second, nobody out in the 8th. This is the game right here. It's cute what the Rays did in the 9th. Cute is the wrong word. It is incredibly admirable what the Rays did, that these bats never give up. And that's why I think kind of a hot stretch is coming, is because the bats are finally starting to wake up. But there is no world where Christian Morel hits that spot. And then Cash turns around and hits for DeLuca. It makes zero sense. Morel has shown you nothing to be hit in that situation, except striking out 3 times. None were very competitive at bats, if we're being completely honest with you. I'm not going to answer any Morel questions in the comments. I'm going to give you guys my take right now. Christian Morel should be DFA tomorrow when Brandon Lau is activated. It is as simple as that. Simple as that. I don't think he's an MLB player. He's an extremely below average fielder. He's an average hitter at best. At best, he's an average hitter. And I don't even think he's that. So not to pile on Christian Monroe. He's a great kid. He brings great energy. It's just this experiment has ran its course. And sometimes you make bad trades. And I don't even know necessarily if it's a bad trade because the Rays got 2 other pieces for Isak. But, you have to just bite the bullet on this one. There's no way you can send even a Tristan Gray, I wouldn't send down over Christopher Morel. So, that just makes it even more. And after that, it's just like, it's just an extra punch in the gut when you bring in Simpson to hit for DeLuca, which really just makes no sense when DeLuca has only put together really good at-bats since he's gone back in the lineup. So, again, Kevin Cash probably knows more than us, but not in that moment. There's 5 or 6 times this season where Kevin Cash has just made extremely head-scratching decisions. And again, that's parallel with him making 30 great decisions, but, this was one of them. I don't know how, if you're going to pinch hit, that you let him hit there. And I don't even know if Simpson, it would have made more sense was for runners on first and second, just to, let Simpson bunt, or, he's going to get the ball in play. It's extremely difficult to double up, even though he did get doubled up the game before. It's just very, very frustrating to how that transpired. And then again, the Rays in the 9th continuing to not give up. And, Josh Lowe rips a triple. And again, he's continuing to get hot. And, you get the Cabby. And by the way, what a take by Cabby on that changeup for 3-2. That is a heck of a take. And then, the guys do just enough to keep the game competitive. And then you get second and third down 2 with your best hitter at the plate. That's all you can ask for, and, Aranda just couldn't get it done. It is what it is. And, that's how the game ends. But, this is another one. You go back, the Rays probably should have won the extra game in Minnesota. They probably should have won an extra game in Detroit. They probably should have won 2 extra games in Boston. And, this one is kind of different because, the Yankees, this was a very evenly played game, but those mistakes just loom even larger. But, you look at those 4 games alone, this extra 4 wins I think the Rays should have. And the Rays are not good enough. They're not talented enough to keep continuing to lose games like this. But, we did talk about it before. This was kind of a penciled-in loss just because, Max Fried was starting. The Rays actually did some pretty good stuff against him. Granted, they only got like 3 hits off him, but they've made those 3 hits count in a big, big way. So, his curveball was working tonight. And you would think the Rays, after he threw for the 18th time, would finally, sit on it a little bit. But, there's a reason why he's one of the best pitchers in the game. And, in a game where you get 3 runs off him, it is tough to not come out on top of that game. It really is. But, if you told me going into Wednesday's game, the Rays split the first 2 games, you take that 100%. And now a huge 2 games are coming up. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk more about Joe Boyle, a little bit more about the mistakes. But first, I want to hear you guys in the comments. What do you guys think about the errors, the walks, Christopher Morel, whatever you guys want to comment? We'll be getting them to later. Make sure you guys also leave a like as well. And we'll be getting to all of that right after this. This episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue. And so is this hat that I'm wearing for the Rays. For fans like me and for fans like you guys, this one hits the mark. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. And, you don't have to just be a golfer to wear this, on the boat. You guys know how hot it's been recently. It's very breathable. You guys can see how breathable it is in the back. It's kind of got the best. It's got that in-style rope kind of look right here in the breathableness in the back. And also, if you guys are into golf, it does have the matching golf club as well, golf glove with the Rays colors as well. So, I'll be repping the Rays, win or lose, and Game Day Hue helps me do that. So right now you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals. So now it's the time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com. Code MLB15. Again, if you guys are in the live, please leave a comment below. But let's talk about Joe Boyle and a little bit more of the pitching staff in general. Again, we touched on it a little bit. It was the worst 6 strikeout performance over 3 1/3 innings that you'll see because, from the jump, his control is all over the place. And when he can't locate his fastball, it's not ideal for him. And for majority of the game, he could not locate it. And when Joe Boyle is throwing more sliders than fastball, again, his slider is really, really good. It's just not ideal. I mean, he threw 11 more sliders than fastball. It's just because his fastball was really not working for him. But again, when you consistently throw 100, I don't think you can go away from it. So again, that's kind of all I have to say. And then Mason Montgomery, I was told he was fixed. Obviously, not same issues from before. Again, I might overreact a little bit, but I have the right to overreact about bad Mason Montgomery outings because he just keeps, putting them out there. But, it was good to see Baker get a quick inning. Seymour looked really good as well. So, again, I think the Rays are due just to go on a streak here. And the bats are starting to wake up. If the starting pitching can fall in line, it starts with maybe the last Zach Littell outing in a Rays uniform tomorrow. If tomorrow's a big day, Littell, maybe doesn't even make that outing. We'll see, but hopefully he does because he had success against the Yankees last time out. But, huge 2 games coming up, guys. I mean, the Rays, I think, need to win both. If you split, it's fine. But, if you win both, you get to within 2 games of the Yankees. Wherever things fall where you are, you're probably going to be a game and a half to 2 games out of a wild card if you win these next 2 games. And both these games are very, very winnable for the Rays. I think they'll have the starting pitching advantage in both of them. But let's preview the game tomorrow. Zach Littell versus Will Warren. Warren is 6-5 with a 4.8 ERA, 50 walks, 124 strikeouts. Again, not a guy that is overly impressive to me. His last time out against the Phillies, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. Time before that against the Braves, 3 2/3, 5 earned runs. The Rays got on him a little bit when he faced them back in early May, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned. Faced him twice. The first time he was more of an opener, got another run. So, I mean, the Rays have had success against him. He's had some pretty high earned run games. His ERA in July is over 6. So this is a game where the Rays, I think, have a starting pitching advantage and, should be favored to win the game. He's going up against Zach Littell, old, reliable, and he's due for a bounce back start. He got roughed up in Cincinnati, 6 innings, 10 hits, 5 earned. That was his first time, or only his second time since April 10th, giving up 4 or more runs in an outing. Early this year against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, we went 7 innings, 3 hits, but 2 of those hits were 2 solo home runs. But those were the only 2 runs that he gave up. So you just kind of got to bank that, the Littell is going to give up a home run because that's just, especially in Yankee Stadium with that short porch, not the greatest matchup, ballpark wise for him, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be in the zone. And is going to, most times to not, give you a quality start. And the Rays need one tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big game for the Rays. Brandon Lau is back. That lineup's going to be a little bit more, got a little bit more meat on the bone. And again, big time opportunity for the Rays to kind of make a statement tomorrow and set yourself up on Thursday where, again, you'll have the starting pitching advantage. But let's get to the comments as we go to Gary first. He says, if the Rays do nothing else the next 48 hours but bring Eric Orsi back, I would consider it a win. I agree. I mean, I don't know. Kevin Kelly looked better today, but then Volpe takes him 450 dead center. So not ideal. Not ideal. As we go to Garrett, Murrow has to go. What is Cash doing letting him hit in the 8th? I don't know what he's doing. And if Chris Murrow is on this team tomorrow night, I will be fairly surprised. If he's on this team after Thursday, I'll be borderline shocked, to say the least. As Gary goes, Jonathan, any thoughts on the gambling allegations, suspensions on Emmanuel Clase, Luis Ortiz of the Cleveland Guardians? Just that it's unacceptable in the game, and you've seen the clips of Clase doing it, and I mean it looks pretty obvious that he was doing it. So I don't know what the protocol is for that. Obviously, I would assume that there's going to be a lengthy investigation going into it, but again, there's just no place for it, in the sport. As we go to USF, Peter Bodega, might be his first time coming. He says, hope they trade Brandon Lau. I don't. And Brandon Lau is on a very reasonable contract for what he's worth, him and Yandy Diaz both. I don't think the Rays should trade Brandon Lau at all. As we go to Mike H, he says, why haven't they played Chandler Simpson more lately? They have. They just sat him against lefties. So he still playing against every single righty. And I would argue they should play him against lefties. But, that's an argument, I guess, for another day. as we go to Mike again. He says, do you think Taylor could be traded? I hope not, but what value could that hold for a team that needs a defensive shortstop? Anyone could be traded. I don't think there's anyone that's untouchable, including Jonathan Aranda or Junior Caminero. I think the Rays are at the point where if they get the right offer for any guy, they'd trade him now. Junior Aranda aren't going to be traded, but I'm just saying, like, the Rays don't have an untouchable player. Do I think Taylor Wall is going to get traded? No, but again, I think if the Rays lose these next 2 games, then I think they could fully sell. Like, I think the Rays, the trade deadline is at what time is it? It's at 6 o'clock. The game's going to end at 4. Like, I think if the Rays lose that game, if they lose both these games, then they could sell a bunch of guys in those last 2 hours. So I don't think that will happen. Again, I think the Rays have 2 very winnable games coming up. If they keep playing like they have, minus the mistakes, I think they'll be in a very, very good position. So yeah, if you guys have any more comments, make sure you guys get them in. Again, frustrating game, but again, I kind of said the Rays knew went 3 out of 4. I said that thinking the Rays would lose this game. So, nothing has surprised me so far, but it's the way they lost this game, the way they were able to get 3 off Max Fried, who they've struggled mightily against all year, the way that they're able to push back in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and, only muster 1 or 2 runs at all of that when they had runners all over the base pass. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this team comes out tomorrow. And, they need to come out with a big-time performance to get the win. And it starts with Brandon Lau coming back. So, I expect the lineup to go Chandler Simpson, Brandon Lau, Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, Junior Caminero. You got that top 5 kind of back solid. And you got Josh Lowe hitting 6, who's finally starting to heat up. I mean, that's the top 6 people can really start to fear. And then, you go Magnum at 7, who's due for a bounce back game, and Theis, Matt, Walls, or if you want to go Fortes, whatever you want to do. I mean, just getting Brandon Lau back just lengthens that lineup out so much more. So again, super optimistic for a Rays win tomorrow. They need it. If they win tomorrow, it really kind of sets things sets things up for them going into the last game of the series. But I appreciate everyone for commenting, everyone for joining. Again, if you guys are watching the replay, listening on podcast, make sure you guys subscribe wherever you be listening, leave a like, comment, or leave a review. Again, I appreciate all you guys for being here through the good and bad times. And we'll be right back tomorrow night, hopefully coming to you after a Rays win. We'll see you then.